Like when people meet us, they always think they know us from TV, and we feel like we know you because we've been watching you for so long.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, it's good to be here in Chicago. You know, it's well, you know, you do a book on Lincoln and you don't come to Chicago, and you're kind of missing the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the ties to Springfield and everything else. We're going to dive into the book, but we got to ask you, since you are the chief legal analyst, and people are always asking you about the legal questions in this country. Let's talk about Blago first. Obviously, that's a big story here.
Yep.
Do you think he will be pardoned by President Trump, and is this possible?
So I don't think he'll be pardoned. I think the question is, will he commute his sentence, right? Two different stories, right? A pardon would basically be saying he's being sort of wiped clean in terms of the crime. A commuting of his sentence is basically saying we're showing some leniency here with regard to the amount of time he's served. So I don't think he's going to get pardoned. Do I think he could commute his sentence? Yeah, I think he could. I think part of it is going to depend on the public reaction, meaning what we've seen President Trump do is he watches the reactions. He sees what people on Fox News or elsewhere are saying about the idea. I think you're seeing a lot of conservatives now saying that they don't think that would be a good idea. I think as a result, I think that makes it more unlikely. It's kind of amazing that we're talking about the president watching TV to see what the response is. But look, it's not that unusual that people would throw out a sort of a trial balloon, right, and say, you know, what do people think of this? I think the reaction to it has been generally pretty negative. I think that makes it less likely it would happen, but could.
Well, let me ask you this, because he's familiar with Blagojevich to a degree because he was on Celebrity Apprentice.
Right.
Also, Martha Stewart in this conversation of pardoning and whatnot. And Patty Blagojevich has been very strategic about going on Fox because she knows the president watches Fox so much. You don't think that is going to sway him at all?
Well, she's trying to sort of lump him in with other people who people on Fox care about. Of course, Blagojevich is a Democrat, right? So it's a little different than some of the other people that we've been talking about here. Look, you got to remember, he was convicted of 17 counts. This wasn't just a sort of mistake. It was, you know, the words that he said sounded like he's selling the seat, President Obama, then Senator Obama's seat.
Right.
And he was convicted on 17 counts. Now, can you make an argument that he should get a reduced sentence? Yeah, but this idea that, oh, he was persecuted by the Obama administration because of, I don't know. I mean, what? He was a Democrat, so he was persecuted because he was selling Obama's seat. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Right. I want to get to the book, but quickly, would the president be able to pardon himself if he's ever in that situation?
Based on the tweet that he sent out yesterday.
So really quickly, first of all, I don't think a sitting president can be indicted, and as a result, I think that it makes it very unlikely to have to pardon himself, at least now. I think it's a close call. There's nothing in the Constitution that specifically expected this to happen, I think. I don't think anyone anticipated that a president might try to pardon himself. As a result, I think that most interpretation is he could probably do it. There would be a legal challenge, but more importantly, there would be a political challenge. I think if he pardoned himself, there would be political ramifications.
Wow. You got your hands full.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the book, Lincoln's Last Trial, the murder case that propelled him to the presidency. First off, what made you want to write this book?
Well, look, we have a transcript, the only transcript that exists of any case that Lincoln's ever argued. And it was discovered in 1989 in the garage of the great-grandson of the defendant. Huh. And it's an amazing murder trial. It's super compelling. It's super close. And we have every word that Abraham Lincoln uttered in the context of a really compelling murder case. So my co-author actually brought me the story. I said, come on, there can't be an actual transcript out there that people aren't talking about of a Lincoln murder trial. He said, no, it just came out in 1989. I looked it up. There was like 1 or 2 articles about it. I couldn't believe that sort of the world hadn't been shaken as a result of finding this transcript. So we then created the rest of the story surrounding what happened in this case with Lincoln for the defense 9 months before he got the Republican nomination. So he had everything to lose by taking this case. You had a community who wanted a conviction on his client, and the trial was fascinating. And to have those words, because transcripts weren't taken back then.
Right.
It was really rare to have a transcript. It just so happened that his family had a lot of money, the defendant. And so they wanted to make sure if he did get convicted that they'd have the actual words to use. The same guy who transcribed this trial transcribed the Lincoln-Douglas debates.
Wow. Well, Diane Sawyer calls the book, quote, heart-pounding pulse of history. That has to make you feel wonderful.
It felt great, yeah. It was, you know, look, I'm appreciative when people read the book, right? And to have had Diane Sawyer read the book and like the book, and we've been getting some very good response. You get nervous. The book came out today. You get nervous about how the response is going to be. Are people going to like it? And the response so far has been terrific, and that's been it's been really encouraging. And look, it's a good thing for history buffs. It's a good thing for Lincoln history buffs, and it's a good thing for people who just love a good old-fashioned trial.
Right. Yeah. Does Daniel Day-Lewis get a free copy?
Exactly.
Well, I think it's a good thing for this audience because Dan is sending home everyone in this audience a copy of his book. Dan Abrams, everybody. Lincoln's West trial, the murder case that propelled him to the presidency, is in stores today, as you just heard. Dan, stop by when you're in Chicago anytime.
Thank you. It's great to be with you guys.
Yeah, we love having you.